Hey, welcome to the Collision of Faith and Politics radio show, and this is the Ninja Pastor, Reverend Dr. Sean Michael Greenley. I'm asking you something that I fail at asking enough, but I'm asking you to please subscribe to my site at...
Don't worry about it. Hey, yo. Where have you reached? Anybody know where you've reached? Are you just fumbling around the radio and fumbling around the internet? Well, let me get on that internet and see what I can find. Maybe there'll be something interesting on there. Maybe I could get on that internet and find out what's happening all up on there. On the internets. I bet there's some right crazy stuff going on there on the internet. So I'm going to look around and see what I can find. Oh, what's this fella all about? Oh, Ninja Pastor. What is that? What's a Ninja Pastor? Collision of Faith and Politics. It was just some kind of car act show? Some political show? Oh, I just don't know. No. It's, feller looks like he's some kind of feller there. I don't know what he is. Well, who knows? Who in the world knows? Nobody knows. Nobody doesn't never know. Look, y'all. Here I am. Ninja Pastor. All up in here. Trying to get some business done. Trying to save the universe. Starting with the US of A. Hey, what's this? What am I doing right here? Anybody know? Did anybody know? I'll ring a bell if somebody guesses. Oh, wait. Let me put on the chat. Chat is open. All right, let's see here. See if you can guess. Okay. Somebody won already. Somebody guessed before I did it. Drink. I have the smartest audience, don't I? Don't I? Look, guys, you're supposed to say, yeah, you do, because, yeah, you do. Maybe I don't have the smartest audience. No, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I do. Hey, man, we're so glad to have you here. There's a lot going on, and I'm just going to tell you, there's some crazy business going on. There's a lot going on, and ultimately it comes down to this. We got to be in it to win it, folks. We got to be in it to win it, and I'm here to win it. This is Reverend Dr. Sean Michael Greener. I don't mess around. And today is going to be such a day. Now, guess what? Let me look at my little Hilo LX. Just give you an accurate reading on how little sleep we're dealing with here. Dang it. Ophelia strengthens to the 10th Atlantic hurricane of 2017, but no threat to the US of A. Well, that's cool. Well, but sorry for all those other people. All right, let's see here. Was I looking up my sleep here on my Hilo LX? It's crazy. This thing is nuts. It really is. Yeah. 2 hours and 38 minutes. So we're working on 2 hours and 38 minutes, and I'm here to tell you that is not the best. It's not the best I've ever done. And between you and me, I got to do better. So guess what? Good old social media. I got on social media and I found me the drink. You drink this drink. I'm trying to think of what it is. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see. Can I find it here? Well, dang, I don't see it. Oh, it's got honey, Himalayan salt. Don't get me started on that. Honey, Himalayan salt. Where is it? I just lost it. It went away. Hey, how about me with a little thing? I have a little music interlude. I figured out how to bring my tracks in so my announcers can announce. I'm a big boy now. What do you think, man? Hey, Craig, how chilly is it? Greets from up north. I know it. How chilly is it up there in the upstate of New York? We're getting the weather report while we're at it. Hey, we know Hurricane Ophelia is out in the Atlantic. Why not? Ain't no thing but a chicken wing. All right. Screenshots. Let me see here. I'm going to tell y'all what I'm going to do. So you can check in with me and let me see here. All right, here we go. It says 1/4 teaspoon of raw honey. I have that. 1/8 teaspoon of sea salt. Golly day, that sounds like a lot of salt. 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Well, I can manage all that. You mix that up. What do you mix it in? Brandy? You mix the coconut oil and honey, then you add the sea salt, you stir and take a spoon of the mixture. Then drink a glass of water. Oh, you just mix it together. Dang. That's wild. Well, it says I'm supposed to drink this at bedtime. It says I should be asleep in 30 minutes. I don't know. What do I know? We're going to give it a try, though. We're going to give it a try. Gotta. We just gotta. You know? It's what we gotta do. So here I am. We're all up in this. And I'm just going to tell you, today going to be a little bit of a weird show. I'm working on 2 hours and 36 minutes of sleep. I think it's 2 hours and 36 minutes. I don't remember since I'm so sleep deprived. I can't remember. But anyway, congratulations to Wes and Coral. My dear friend Wes, my brother, and the nuptials to Coral. He definitely married up. He knows that, of course. I'm not saying anything new. And so congratulations. He's in our Kehala, and we love him, and we're going to love her too. So we're just super, super excited for them. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of beautiful things going on. I have some good friends that are all up in love, and I have some good friends that are things that are going well for once. And then I have some other circumstances. Well, let me just tell you, a lot of it you'd know about if you follow me on the Facebook. Now, let me just be fair to you. I figured out how to find out who's following me and how to delete people who are following me, how to block them and all that. So I've blocked like 400 or 500 people. I just, some of the weirder ones, I just don't want a bunch of weird stuff. Now, I have Media Matters following me now, and they tell me that you've made it as a conservative figure if Media Matters follows you. Now, let me just be fair to you. I'm nobody fancy. I'm nobody special. I'm just me, and I'm doing this little thing here, and but whatever reason, they love to mess with people, and I'll be honest with you, I just don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense at all. It really, really doesn't. I don't understand it, why they would do it. Why would they obligate themselves to do that? It just doesn't make sense. It really, really doesn't. But hey, what are you going to do? It's just one of those things. So, but I started talking about friends in that video, and the weird thing about it is, in this video on Facebook, if you follow me on Facebook and you see my Facebook Live videos and all that stuff I do, you will know basically what's going on in the world, what's going on in my life. And yesterday was a day where I happened to be down where I grew up. And it was weird because someone I've known since I was a little kid, his name is Derek Lingo. He passed away. He's 53 years old and way too young. I'm 52. Way too young. My brother died at 52. My next oldest brother died at 52. Many of you know. Many of you were kind enough to come to the funeral. And then one of my best friends since kindergarten passed away at 52. And it's weird. To be real truthful with you, it's weird. So many of these people. I had a 40-year-old son of somebody I know real well from high school. He was a teacher and coach. His son passed away. There's just so much of it. But then, like I talk about in the video, there's great memories and there's bad memories. Everywhere you go, you can't go anywhere there aren't memories. You're going to build some kind of memory. Something. And you have to. You can't live without making memories. And memories are made up of different things. Memories are sometimes the tough things, and sometimes they're the wonderful things. And like I said, I have some friends that they are experiencing wonderful things, just wonderful things, and I'm so excited for them. I really, really am. I have some friends that are in turmoil and they're struggling and trying to figure out what's what, and you know what? It's one of those things. Life is that way. Life is that way. It goes that way. So basically, big long blah 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 to get you to follow me on social media and Facebook. Let's see what all I'm on. I'm on. Let me start with the ones I never remember. Instagram, the Ninja Pastor, and that's where some of my photography is. Now I do professional photography, and I sell it in all kinds of forms, and that's just Shawn M, SHAWNM -greener, like the grass is always greener, .pixels, PIXELS.com. That's how you reach me. So you can reach me there, and you can buy. And Christmas is coming. It's only 70 days away? 70 something days away. Somebody told me the other day. And so that's right around the corner. And what we do is signature concierge photography. And we do exquisite images, compelling memories, and we do some very unique things. We do a lot of wildlife, a lot of landscapes. I try to capture beautiful, beautiful things. And then we do unique portraiture and event photography. So anyway, but Christmas is coming, so you can buy some stuff there. So now, watch the video, listen to the video. Now, I know the sound gets a little bit difficult. I'm working on a way to do that where it's just way better sound, and I apologize in advance for that. But the video is just worth seeing. I mean, it's just worth seeing. It's really, really, the waves are very peaceful, and there's some unique things. I mean, it's October, right? And people were swimming. In the Atlantic Ocean, people were swimming in October. That's sweet. Now, we're not talking surfers. Now, I remember I tried my hand at surfing for a while, and I wasn't very good. But East Coast waves are very, very difficult. It's a very short, and I talk about this in the video, very short ride. It's super fast. It starts and it's over. You basically crash into the sand. But these weren't surfers that were in the water. They were people that were really excited and enjoying what all was going on. So anyway, all that to say this, that go ahead and give a listen to that. I think, if you need a little source of peace, very, very sweet. Very, very sweet thing. And I'm going to try to do at least one or two of those a week. And I have a friend of mine, Andrew Schmidt. And if you go look under me, I think it's SZMIDT, I think. I'm not sure. But Andrew, he's in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and just about every morning he does a walk looking for shark's teeth and shells and smooth stones and talks, and he does it at sunrise. So you see the sunrise every single morning. So I don't know where you live, but that's a cool thing to do. If I'm usually up by the very wee hours, and so if it's going to be a good sunrise or something like that, and I've got a photography thing I want to do, and I'm physically up to it, then I get in and get after it, and so we get out there. So you'll see me out there, and every now and then I'll do a quick little Facebook Live so you can see the sunrise where I am, if I can. A lot of times in my situation, you have to be super quiet. You're sneaking up on animals and deer, and you're trying not to scare them. So today's show, I don't know how long today's show is going to go. Who knows? But share the link. Tell your friends. The Facebook is a good way to learn all about that. Also, theninjapastor.com. If you go to theninjapastor.com and you that little pop-up thing comes up, put your name and your email in, you'll get all of the updates. Twitter, at the Ninja Pastor on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. LinkedIn, Shawn Michael Greener, I think, under LinkedIn. You can follow me there if that's your thing. But we'd really enjoy it. Tumblr, I think it's the Ninja Pastor at Tumblr as well. So we'd love to have you join us. We try to bring something worth seeing, and the way you follow the show if you have a smartphone is you can download the Google Play Android app. We had a custom-made app. I paid for it, so you don't have to. And then we have the iPhone app. And literally, people are telling me less than a minute. Downloads in less than a minute. But if you listen on a computer, like if you're not on a smartphone or you don't have a smartphone, you have to listen on a computer, then I encourage you to download the link to the show on your browser. You can save it as a favorite or bookmark it or whatever you want to do. And that'll make it easy for you. And that way you'll get reminders too. You just click on follow. So follow us. It's really important that you follow us on Spreaker at any of those links. So there you have it. You can listen to, you can still go over to Blog Talk Radio. We're going to pay probably for one more month for folks to be able, and people have been telling me they're downloading like a fiend over there on some old shows that they, on topics that they wanted to, and that's not just in here and there, not just our Wednesday show, but also our Sunday show. And we go live Sundays, 5:30 to 6:30ish. And it's free. Everything is free to do. Nobody charges you anything. And so here's what's going on in the Ninja Pastor. Then we'll move on to today's show. First of all, let me say this, that you guys know I'm really, really into helping Gold Star. I'm a veteran myself, but I'm really, really committed to helping Gold Star families and combat vets. That's something that's very, very, very important to me. And I met this guy, just a really, really neat guy, great guy. Actually met he and his wife, Bob and Millie Hillgrube, and then they're great people, great patriots, just amazing people. And they had this friend named Charlie and Marianne Strange. And so it's weird how it happened. I'll have to tell you a story how it happened one day, but I'll just tell you now, because I'll shorten it. What had happened was, they were riding in the car up to hear Ted Cruz speak in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Constitutional Hall. My friend Sean McLaren and I, veteran, well, he's not a veteran, he's active duty, fireman, great guy, Sean and Angie, great team. And so Sean and I are together, and my buddy Dave Bray, when he was with Madison Rising, shredding songwriter and frontman for Madison Rising back then. He's on his own now, doing great things. He and Becky Bray. So we went to hear them, and I wanted to give them signed copies of my books and all that, because they were getting ready to go on this big tour. That night, they had to drive straight through to Louisiana, and I've done that on my motorcycle. I know how brutal that is. I can't imagine in a van. So we happened to notice that Ted Cruz was going to be speaking at Constitution Hall. And so Sean said, well, you want to see if we can get in? And see if we can get in. Let me just break it down to the real for you. See if we get in means, can we sneak in, not get caught by security and police and all that stuff? Because this is a high dollar thing. People pay fold-in money, serious fold-in money to get in there, and, it's a real intimate kind of setting. Well, it turned out Bob and Millie Hillgrube were bringing Charlie and Marianne Strange. Charlie's son, Michael Strange, for whom the Michael Strange Foundation is named, was killed in Extortion 17. He was working with DevGru, or SEAL Team 6, people know it as, but it's really DevGru. And Extortion 17 was the call sign of the helicopter shot down. It's the largest single-day loss in the war thus far, and the largest ever for Navy SEALs. And it wasn't just Navy SEALs. I mean, there were Army pilots, National Guard people. I think there were some Air Force people, Air Force crew on. So it really tough, really, really super tough. And it was a terrible, terrible thing. Just one of those things. It's just one of those things. Terrible thing. There's never a circumstance that's a good circumstance when it comes to how you become a Gold Star. I don't know. It's weird. It's just a weird thing. It's tragic. It's awful. Tragedy is this, and I'm going to talk about this a lot today, but it's this thing. It's this unknown thing, and it's so much bigger, right? It's so much bigger than anything any of us can imagine. It happens, and when it happens to you, I've had tragedy happen to me. I've had personal tragedy, professional tragedy, family tragedy. I've had, in the military and post-military contracting, police tragedy, all these things. But these things, and they're bigger. They're bigger. They're just, to be honest with you, they're bigger. They're bigger than we can ever imagine. And it blows us over. It kicks us in the teeth, and we're like, man, oh man, what happened? So there's really, it's difficult to describe what in the world, how in the world do you describe tragedy when it's just so over the top. It's just completely over the top, and it blows you back, Um, by the way, let me just say this. For you guys heard me praying for the Campanella family. Mrs. Betty Campanella passed away after a battle with leukemia. Great, great lady. Well, now Mr. Campanella, Mr. Joe Campanella, great man, wonderful human being. He fell and hurt himself, and so now he's got to have some major surgery done ASAP. So praying for that family. They've had it to go through, and wonderful people, though. Man, I tell you, I couldn't love them more. I'm serious. I couldn't love them more. So tragedies happen, right? And sometimes they load up on you. They stack up, right? They get in the background. They stack up on you. And it's like, well, what's going on here? What's with all this tragedy? What's with all this pain? What's with all this? What's up? Well, it's life. Life is up. And toward the end of the show, I'm gonna give you some pointers on dealing with tragedy, a better way to deal with it, I guess, and something that's always worked for me, and I want to help you with it. But suffice it to say, man, a lot going on in the world today. I better get moving. I better move off of that. But let me tell you why I was bringing up the Michael Strange Foundation. Look, we have a donate button on the ninjapastor.com over there, and if you ever want to contribute to what we do, we'd love that. We're honored by it. It touches our heart. We're really blown away by it, to be honest. I'm always amazed when people do it. And that's what we use that to fund this, and for technology, we're saving up for a new computer. I think I have $5 saved up toward it. But we have to get a new computer because the computer is just completely overwhelmed. When you're doing a show to 10 or 15 people, that's one thing. But then when you're doing stuff to a million people, it's a whole different animal. It's kind of crazy, the stuff you have to do. And I never realized. I thought the internet is the internet, but with the bandwidth and all that stuff and resident memory, I'm learning all these things. But the point of the matter is we have that button there. And if you want to give to what we do, we'd be honored. I mean, we'd straight up be honored. But I'll tell you, we do these retreats, the Michael Strange Foundation, and Michael Quinn, and I don't even want to bring up names. Bob and Millie Hillgrove, Angie and Sean McLaren, Charlie and Marianne Strange, Gold Stars, Michael Quinn and his wife, Karen Drum. Good Lord, that woman is a yeoman, man. I never saw anybody get after the hard work of doing work and getting it done. Getting it done right, getting it done with excellence, man. She is just tremendous. So my point in all that is this Michael Strange Foundation, they invited me to come and speak and do. I went to one and I opened in prayer and did a little opening speech to the Gold Stars. And then the next one, we did a 3-day, which goes along with our Living Through Grief on Purpose ebook, which is free to anyone if you've experienced grief or you're about to. Now it's geared toward Gold Stars, but it really is applicable to anybody. And it's only 42 or 46 pages. It's a nice ebook. It's laid out nice. It's nice color and all that stuff. And it's easy. It's written in. It's real. It's just real. So if you, quite honestly, I think it'll bless anybody that's been through grief or is about to go through grief. But the point of all that is I do this seminar that I wrote over the course of 3 days and for Gold Stars. And so we're doing one in Tucson, Arizona. Not this weekend. This weekend, Kehala folks listening will be in Middletown. But the next weekend we will not be meeting. We will be in Tucson, Arizona, doing this Michael Strange Foundation grief workshop. And I'm telling you, some of these stories are powerful. And I want to tell you the story now, but I will tell you some stories when I get back, because it's important for them to hear some of these stories the first time. I know that doesn't make sense to some people, but it really is important. So anyway, that's what we're doing. And so the Michael Strange Foundation has a website. Charlie Strange is on my Facebook. Bob and Millie Hillgrove are on my Facebook. Sean and Angie are on my Facebook. You can contact them. If you are a person, it had some people give $500 donations. Had some people give more than that. Because here's the reason why your donations are so important. It's all expenses paid for these Gold Star families. Not a dime. They don't have to pay a dime. They come. They're put up in nice accommodations. They're fed nice food. The whole workshop is free. And I know they give them some amazing things. And Michael Quinn and his team, I'll tell you, talk about a great leader. He really does great things. And these are busy people, by the way. These aren't people sitting around, oh, I wonder what I should do. Well, I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. Maybe we start a foundation and help Gold Star families. Well, I don't know. That cuts into my do nothing time. No, these people are busy people. You know what I'm saying? They're very, very busy people, and they're good people, man. I'm so honored. And every time I go and do one of these workshops, I'm blown away by how amazing these people are. It's just cool, you know. It's just such an honor. I'm really blown away by them. So if you want to give to something that you know, let's see here, live in chat. There we go. Inviting a bunch of people to come join us here over in the chat room. Getting her done. So, but they have a way to donate there. It's very safe, and your money goes completely. When I say completely, I mean every dime, because nobody gets paid. There are no paid positions in this organization. 100% goes to making these things happen. I think we have 24 or 26. We had on the call last night, 24, 26 Gold Star families, and some of them have lost more than one child in combat. Can you imagine? A friend of mine and I were talking about the pain of losing a child. I don't want to know. I literally talked to my daughter Lily right up until showtime, and my son, you know, we talk all day and whenever, you know, and we have a good time. We're going to watch a hockey game tonight once I finish the show. And I love my kids. I know you guys love your kids too. And I've heard a lot of people tell me, well, you know, yeah, they're good kids, but, you know, my son, I don't like his hair at all. It gets on my nerves. And the reason why I don't like his hair and it gets on my nerves is because he's got a lot of it. He's got more hair on his head than most people have on their entire body. I mean, it's just too much. It's too much hair. But he actually takes real good care of it, looks real good. And he was shocked when I said, no, don't get your hair cut. Let it grow. My hair used to be real pretty and thick and all that stuff. In fact, in the video yesterday, I just left getting my hair cut at Cheryl. I think the place's name, it's in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, Bad Hair Day. Cheryl, if you want to get... now look, she's not working with a very good canvas with me. You know, the canvas she has to work with me is pretty poor. But she does a great job with what she has to work with, sadly. But I talked about that. I just come from getting a haircut, and so she cut my hair, and you see it on the thing. Not that that's any big deal. But anyway, I don't know how I got talking about hair. Oh, my son's hair. So I love talking to my kids. I'm telling you, I really, really enjoy them. And you know, when Lily was little, she was just this most compliant, peaceful, sweet kid, super smart, you know, basically taught herself how to read and do math. And she's in veterinary medical school now, so she's, you know, obviously very smart. Just every phase, you know, the first 6 months, she was just a treasure, you know. I didn't get what all these people are saying. Oh my gosh, you wait till this happens. So then, you know, we get through that phase, and the next thing, oh, is it Wonderful Ones? It's a bad thing, right? There's some bad name they have for the ones, you know, when you're one. But she amazingly, you know, was wonderful. And it was the Wonderful Ones, I guess I would say. And then Terrible Twos, you know, people talk about the Terrible Twos. She was wonderful. She was amazing. Even better than at one. And then the threes and the fours and all that stuff. And they kept saying, you know, every time we'd say, I don't know, I don't get it. She's wonderful. We love her. She's so much fun. And my son, you know, every phase was wonderful and fun and interesting. Now, some stuff, you know, you know, you want to shorten the learning curve, cleaning the room and all that stuff, and it both, you know, and all of that. You know, I'm not saying it was this magical, but with either one, but with both of my kids, I always said, I don't want to have another child because good lands, I hit 100% lucky here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just, for me, it's just wonderful. So my point is I don't even know what my point is. I got off on this tangent, but But losing a child, that's what I was talking about. I was talking to a friend of mine about losing a child, and we both agreed. I said, man, I don't ever want to experience that. I don't ever want to experience that. Ever, ever, ever. Lord, take me. Now, my life expectancy is very short, comparatively speaking. It's well below the average. And you guys know the story on all that. But I pray I go before my kids. I just don't think I could do it. My mother said, losing my brother, having a child predecease her was the hardest thing she ever experienced. And I have to agree, just thinking about it gives me the shivers. I don't want any part of it. I want no part of it. So, Michael Strange Foundation, you want to give to something good, give to that. It's really incredible. I want to say we have, I have the commercial tracks for the people that we partner with. Nobody pays to appear on this show. Nobody at all. I mean, that's just not how we work. But we have an organization called Logox. They build this American-made, veteran-owned, 100% veteran-owned, veteran-made, all American-made tool. If you do any work with woodworking in the woods or cutting wood at all, any log work at all, this is the thing to have. thelogox.com. So I found out how to incorporate those commercials and bring them over, so we'll be doing those. My buddy Dave Partridge, I'm telling you guys, with Lieberman Early, the best commercial real estate guy you'll ever see in your lifetime. I'm seriously, you'll never see a better one. You really won't. You will not see a better one. He is amazing, and he'll take care of you in a way that nobody else will. I mean, he's super smart. I've known him for well over 2 decades, so I can tell you I know what he's all about. And I would never recommend anybody if I didn't think they were amazing, if I didn't know they were amazing. So, like, for instance, with the Michael Strange, listen, there's some sketchy organizations out there. There are some sketchy organizations out there. But I know this organization from the inside out, and I can tell you, I know everybody that's involved with it. Angie and Sean are some of my best friends. Bob and Millie, I've known them a long time. They're amazing people. I've been in their home. Heck, I've been in their hot tub, and which is amazing, by the way. Hot tubs. I never thought I would like them. I didn't. I never thought I would like them. But if you have chronic pain, I don't know. I'm not supposed to be in a hot tub because of blood pressure, but I'm telling you what, man, that thing took my pain away for like 6 or 8 hours. I'm attributing to that. I don't know, but it was so much fun. So much fun hanging out with them. They're great people. They're behind, they're in it, in the Michael Strange Foundation organization. Michael Quinn, an amazing man, successful businessman. He doesn't need to be doing all this. He could be retiring. He's got enough stuff going on. He doesn't need all this, but they do it. And these are some of the greatest people I think I've ever been exposed to. How are we sounding in chat there, by the way? I forgot to do a little sound check there, so I apologize for that. Hopefully we got everything adjusted right. So today, today's not November 5th, but close enough where we need to start preparing and thinking about some things. So this ANTIFA, now I was calling it ANTIFA, and it's ANITFA is what I'm told it is. It's not ANTIFA, it's ANITFA. But I don't even know, what they think they're doing. That's just idiots. But they're not people that you should just cast away. Thank you in chat. Appreciate it, Craig, for letting us know the sound. The biggest reason was technical issues and sound quality coming over from Blog Talk Radio. But I'm so thankful we did. And as I learn how to do other things on this dashboard, we'll knock it out. So what I want to say to you is this. I'm just going to call it ANTIFA. ANTIFA, and really I don't give a rip if they don't like that I'm mispronouncing it. Come and get me. I'm ready for y'all. But they say they're going on these violent rampages all across the country. Now, this is not me making it up, accusing them of that. This is what they say they're going to do. This is what they say they're going to do. Their documentation, their announcements, their public stuff, their videos, all that stuff, and they're going to go on a violent rampage. They call them attacks, and their goal is to unseat President Donald Trump. No, I'm not kidding you. This is real. They really and truly, this is their goal. This is what they're going to do. What do you want me to do? I'm just telling you what they're telling me and what they're telling the world, and they're telling the world that they want to bust him out of office. And my son says I flaunt it. He flaunts his hair. I won't tell you what I said back to him. I retract all the good things I said about him. If he was here right now, he'd be flipping his hair, because he's got so much of it. Anyway, it is real pretty. Oh, you know what I put in my tea this time? Yes, lemon. Of course I put lemon in it, but I had a little tiny, I don't even know what you call that doggone thing. It's a little lime. I put some of that in there. Why not? They say that stuff's really good for you. So I put that in there. It tastes good too. So this ANITFA, this is what they say they're going to do. Now they're going to go. They've got them all planned. November 4th, folks. November 4th. Now that's coming up. That's not that far away. So you really kind of have to have some sort of. You've got to have a plan. You can't just run around and go, well, I'll deal with it when I get there. There's preparations and whatnot, and well, what have ye. There's preparations. You can't go into something like that and find your way through as you go. You can't do it. It's just like when they tell you a hurricane is coming. I have friends that live all up in the track of the hurricanes, and down in Florida and Mississippi and all this stuff. I'm just going to tell you something. If you live there, you darn sure better have a plan, and you better have supplies, and you better have, an escape route and evacuation route and all these different things. You had better have your car stocked. Just like if you live in the desert, you better have water in that car. You had better have water in that car. You can't mess around and not have water out in the desert. You'll die. Just like up in Alaska and all these places. Go ahead and mess around. Go ahead and mess around and not be prepared. Nature doesn't love you. Nature does not love you. Nature doesn't care one rip about you. You know what nature does? It kills you. Yes, it's beautiful. I'm a nature photographer. I love nature. I do. But it will kill you. Bears, they'll kill you. Alligators, one of my friends the other day ran by an alligator, was doing the evening run, and there's an alligator. Well, you know what they do? They kill you. I saw a coyote this morning, and it had killed, all total now, I think three fawns and a mama deer. And so, look, man, they don't mess around. So you mess around with nature, nature will kill you. Nature will take you out. Snow and all those things. You got to be prepared for all these things. Well, these things that happen, that they don't just happen. They don't happen in a vacuum. They make these things happen. These are things that they make happen. And this anti-fascist, you know what it might be? They might have in their own documentation, because I'm looking here. Yeah, I think they have done a spelling error, a transposing of mixing up. Oh, look at there. They did on their own stuff. Boy, they're dumb. They're straight up dumb. They really are. But don't discount them and say, well, they're dumb. We don't care. They're stupid. They've never been in the military. All that stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that. Fools do that. Fools dismiss people as completely impotent. They're not impotent. They're running around with 2x4s with nails in them, right? And you know what they do with them? They smack the police horses with them. You let me catch one of them doing it. I'm telling you right now, you go ahead and hurt an animal in front of me. See what happens to you. Go ahead and mess around. I won't have it. I will not have it. But that's what they do. They put the nails through the end of it, these 2x4s, and that way they can smack the horses. They want to hurt the horses. And now the left wants to claim that they love animals. They love the earth. But look what they're doing. Every place where they ever go, they leave a trash load. I remember there was a million of us, a million conservatives up in Washington, D.C. on the mall. We didn't leave a speck of trash. We left it better looking when we left than when we got there. And, a week later, I don't know what that air quotes comedian, I can't remember his name. John, something or other. He was educated at William and Mary, if you can believe that. He was there. He had a thing there, and they didn't even have 10,000 people, and they left. It was a trash. It was terrible, the stuff that was there. They claim one thing, but they live another. So this Antifa, this is what they do. This is what they do. So you need to understand that we can't dismiss them. They can buy guns just like we can. They can get guns illegally. What most often do, they can get weapons. They can get pepper mace. You can go into, I'll say an outdoor store. I don't want to advertise for anybody. You can go into an outdoor store and get pepper spray, bear spray. You can get spray that'll spray 30 feet. Yeah, how about the crowd up there, at inauguration? I won't say their name on the air, but you know what it is. They have hats that match them. They left the place just a horrible mess. Just a horrible mess. Occupy Wall Street. There was rapes and drugs, and they had to have, this is a private park. Bryant Park is a private park too. They occupied a private park. They took over. How about all this stuff, slinging paint and whatnot, and damaging statues and all these different things, and the mess they leave behind with that? They don't care. They talk out of one side of their mouth. Talk out of both sides of their mouths. They lie. They're liars. So we have to acknowledge them for what they are, but they can get trained just like anybody else. They absolutely can. No doubt about it. They can get training just like anyone else. So, my friends, you can't go into November 4th figuring you're going to run over to some store and pick up some stuff on November 4th. We don't know how ahead of the game they are or not. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something right now. You had better be prepared. No fooling. You say, well, what do I do? Well, first of all, you better acknowledge that this could be a day of utter chaos all across the country. By the way, my prayers go out to the people out in California dealing with these fires. Not everybody that's losing everything they've ever owned is a rich winery owner. Not everybody is a rich winery owner out there. Not everybody's a celebrity that has tons of money. There's good, hardworking people. And how about the people that work in those wineries? How about the people that work in those areas that are, hourly wage people? How about the people that live in housing that's encompassed on the winery? They've lost their home. They've lost everything. They've got nowhere to go and no money to rent a hotel room. And it's still raging. So God bless them. I tell you, I'm praying for them. So what I want to say to you all is that, the first thing is the first thing, and the first thing always is acknowledge that, look, this is going to be real. This is going to be real. You got to acknowledge it's going to be real, and it could turn up and say, well, so many things they talk about, they don't ever happen. Well, trust me, if 1/10 of what they're saying is going to happen, it's going to be, a terrible day. It's going to be a terrible day. So you've got to acknowledge that these things can absolutely happen, and when you do that, you've already knocked down. Look, you can't change anything, you can't deal with anything you don't acknowledge. That's first and foremost right there. If you don't change it, you can't acknowledge it, my friends. Can't acknowledge it. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. And so you've got to acknowledge that it's real and that it could be terrible. At the same time, folks, you've got to realize, that no matter what you do, no matter how you prepare, it could get messy. It could get really, really messy. And it could get deadly. Look at Berkeley as a cross section. Look at how small Berkeley is. I've been there. I've been on the campus, and it's a shame. It's such a beautiful place, but at the same time, it's also very dirty. They always, like I said, they're all the time talking about, loving the planet, and conservatives don't love the planet. I tell you, there's nobody, a conservative hunter, loves the planet more and loves animals more than any leftist does, because we're committed to keeping it, pristine and the ecosystem going and healthful. So my point in that is it's a beautiful place except for where they litter it up, and look what they did in Berkeley. Look what they did. Look, that wasn't conservative there doing all this. You know, you got to own what you got to own. And the fact of the matter is the left was there. Antifa, make no mistake, they say they're anti-fascist. That's what they say it stands for, anti-fascist. I'm sorry to tell you, they are fascists. They say they're anti-fascist. They're using fascistic. This is what they're doing. That's reality, friends. That's just reality. Look, President Trump nominated another female. Good lands. This man hates women so much. He nominated another female. Well, the guy hates women. I don't know. How about this, what is his name, Weinstein guy? Well, everybody knew that was going on. People wanted to make fun of my friend, Andrea Shea King, great guest on our show and a great host of her own show, Andrea Shea King's show. She's still over at Blog Talk, but she does a great show. And she's really been doing some breakneck journalism on Pizzagate. Well, now there's a lot of connections between this Harvey Weinstein, this media mogul Harvey Weinstein, and Pizzagate. If you don't know what Pizzagate is, do a little googly. But, you know, be prepared. It's bad. So, and all these people are closely tied with the Clintons and the Obamas and, you know, everybody and all the actors and stuff. But it's coming out now, you know, that it goes way deeper. So the next thing you got to do with Antifa on November 14th, they said they're going to do this thing, is look, the best way to deter war is an extremely strong, prepared, and ready army. A great military, a great Navy, a great Air Force, a great Marine Corps, a great Coast Guard. You have a strong military with strong technology and well-trained, top-notch, best in the world soldiers with the best in the world equipment, and they know how to use it better than anybody else in the world. Let me tell you something, friends. That's the way you shut that mess down. That's the way you do it. That's the way you do it. You shut it down. You shut it down right at the start. You have strong. Hey, by the way, thank you so much, Sanford Butler, for retweeting and tweeting all that stuff. You're awesome, man. I love to see your tweets and all that. I got to figure out how to retweet. I got to figure out how to do Twitter. I was a late adopter to Twitter. People say, "Why don't you have hundreds of thousands of followers?" It's because I didn't even know what to do. I didn't really understand what it was. I thought 140 characters. Man, I can't barely say hello in 140 characters. This tea is so good. Seriously. Straight up awesome. So you know, you got to have, my point in all that is you got to have a strong offense. It can't be all about words all the time. It can't be blah, 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 womp, 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 womp. You remember the teacher on Charlie Brown? Womp, womp, womp. Right? You can't be that all the time. That's what it becomes. Sometimes a throat punch. You say, well, the ninja pastor's advocating violence. No, I'm not advocating violence, but if somebody messes around and wants to come up and destroy your property, destroy your home, and set things on fire and businesses and all that mess, stop streets, you know, block roads, and beat people up and kill people, and fight the police and kill the police. Newsflash, folks, we can't allow that to happen as a society. We cannot allow our police, the good people cannot allow our police to be harmed. We can't do it. We can't do it. That's just a fact, folks. So you got to have a strong offense. So that means you got to prepare. You can't just hop in your car on November 4th and think, oh, well, hope nothing happens today. You got to make some preparations. Now, I'm not going to advocate, if you're not a person that should own or carry a gun, if you've never been trained with a gun, you better get you some training. You got a little bit of time. People say, well, that's kind of polarizing, you know, telling people to get guns. It's a Second Amendment. I'm looking at the gift my son gave me. The Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's just bottom line, folks. Hey, he made me this really cool thing, by the way. I've got it right behind me. I'm going to try to remember the next Facebook Live that I have to do inside, because if it's nasty weather, I'm going to do this thing, and I'll show y'all what he made for me in his trade school. It's really, really cool. I have a brinsellers.com. Tells an amazing story. She has a great blog. She's an amazing writer and creator and all that stuff. She did my logo for me, which is a lion, for executiveprotectionteam.com. Go there, you can learn about a lot of my background. There's some security tips and all that stuff, kind of what we were about. We still, help people out here and there. But anyway, the point is that the Ninja Pastor lion became the logo of the Ninja Pastor. It's a trademark thing. And so he figured out, hey, why don't I do that? And in a project they had. And so I have that behind me. I'll have to show you. He did it in wood, and he used CNC, I want to say. I don't know. But anyway, the point of all that is that November 4th, we are in a very serious situation here, in that, well, let me just say this to you. We outnumber them. But you know why they do the things that they do? I say this all the time. I gave a speech one time at this really kind of pacifistic place. Hold on, let me take another drink. I was at this place, and they invited me to come, which I'll go anywhere, cover my expenses, we'll be there. And I was giving a speech there, and I said to them, the reason why these violent people do violence upon you and your neighbors and your businesses and all these things, the reason why they do this is because they're not afraid of you. They're not afraid of you. Why would they be afraid of you? You don't scare them. I was down 911. I got down 911. I got a shelter in place. If there was a throwdown happening, listen, if any of these, you see these protests, and I don't advocate any kind of white supremacy crap. I don't advocate any of that. The only thing that's supreme is Christ. That's it. And he's not white nor black. He's darker than he is lighter. And the fact of the matter of it is I don't give a rip what color you are. I don't care. I've never cared. One of my best friends in my whole life is a black guy. He's with Jesus right now. He'll tell you that. So, anyway, the point of all this is I said in my speech, I said, listen, they're not afraid of you because they know you're going to flinch. In the game of chicken, you draw the line, you back up, then you back up again. And I'm of the belief, the way I operate is I don't play around. When I was playing sports, don't veer. I'm the guy, I'm not veering. I'm not going to turn away. So if you don't turn away, you're going to get hurt. And I may get hurt, but I will not veer. I'm coming. I'm putting it in high gear, putting the pedal to the metal, and we're making it happen. And I will forget where the brakes are. And so there's these things where they clash. The opposing things. And the conservatives, they're not raising a ruckus. They're not causing a problem. And then these ANTIFA people come in, and these anarchists come in, and they start fighting, and they do all this. And then who gets blamed? Whoever the conservative side is. It doesn't have to be white supremacists. Look, I don't identify with them, and I don't think you do either. Nobody I know does. But the press throws that around because that carries more weight. You know it does, and I know it does. Every single time. So, right there, you've got what he used to say, my buddy used to say, oh, you want to get froggy, you better get to leaping. Because he's already, there's no dancing around seeing how cool a word you can do, and I don't believe in that either. I don't believe in any of that. You say, well, you believe in advocating violence before violence is done upon you? What about that turn the other cheek? I'll do a whole show. I'll do 2 hours on how errant people have mistranslated the notion of turning the other cheek and what it means. There's a lot of pacifistic, wimpy pastors who would pee their pants if somebody ever came up to them and got in their face and bumped them in the chest with their finger and said, oh, no, you won't. They won't stand up. They run and hide. They pee their pants. They run and hide. I'm not saying all pastors like that. I'm just saying there are an awful lot of them. You know what pastors were like during the Revolution? When we were fighting for our freedom? Before England was, vanquished by patriots? I'll tell you what they were doing. They were going to church with muskets. The pastor had a musket. Black Robe Regiment, of which I am a member. And you know those little dings in those historic churches that from back then? Those little nicks in the wall about 56, 54 inches up? That's where the tip of the musket used to lean. And everybody would come in and lean their muskets up there. They didn't play around, man. But this is the struggle that we're having now, folks, is we've got all these pacifistic people who have mistranslated the Bible because they want to make themselves feel better about being a wussy, skinny jean wearing, messed up hair and all this crazy crap. Whatever, dress however you want. I don't care. Whatever people respond to it. But what I'm saying to you is, sometimes it's time to throw down, folks. Hey, look, I don't know where you live. I don't know where you live. I don't know what it's like where you live. You may live in paradise. I don't know. I've not been there. But I can tell you this, when violence comes upon you and you light a candle and do a vigil, guess what? Your job of protecting the flock is epic fail time. It's epic fail. You come in our Kehala, mine won't be the only barrel that gets red hot. There's a whole lot of folks that are locked and loaded and ready to rock. We don't play around. We do not play around. We don't mess around. So you got to have a good offense. You got to. You can't mess around and not have an offense. Well, I don't know. I guess I'll fight back. What do you mean you guess you'll fight back? You tell me you guess you'll fight back. Guess what? Guess what? You know what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get your butt kicked or you're going to get killed. Get your butt kicked or you're going to get killed. It's that simple. It's just how it is. It's just how it is, folks. If you're not prepared, you're going to get your butt kicked or worse. And if you're a leader and you are into all this pacifist, look, I'm a peaceful guy. You watch my videos, you do all that stuff. I'm on YouTube too. I have the Ninja Pastor YouTube channel. I always forget that one, man. I got to put stuff on there. I keep forgetting. Our recordings are on there after the show's over. You can listen to it that way too. Some people like that. I don't know why, but they do. But I'll do some more videos there. But the point of it is I'm an easygoing guy. I am an easygoing guy. People say, "Well, not the way you sound. You're very polarizing." Come on, stop being a wimp. Polarizing. You're polarizing. That's just, come on, stop with all that mess. Stand up, step up. Step to something. Well, what if they punch me? Well, what if you get a big fat lip? What if they break your nose? Will that make you mad enough to step to them a little bit harder next time? Maybe get a little bit of practice? People mess around thinking they don't have to prepare themselves for a fight. Life is a battle, folks. You say, well, I teach my children to look the other way. Let me tell you something. Better stop talking about all these doggone pink shirts that people wear, anti-bullying shirts. Yeah, you do all that for the assemblies, and you tell these bullies don't bully. But you know what bullies do? They bully. They bully. Oh, that's a pink shirt. I better not hit that person because they're anti-bully. Just like the gun mess that people mess around with, talking about the liberals every single time. Well, we got to take the guns away. Got to take the guns away. Somebody's got to do something. The only people whose guns you're going to be taking away are the good people. And those people need to defend themselves because police are a small number. And they are hamstrung by a bunch of laws, a bunch of restrictions. I know because I wear one. I'm going to talk a little bit about politics. Somebody just sent me a thing saying politics and the Bible don't belong. Listen, no offense to you, but you've gotten some bad teaching. Somebody done messed around and led you astray. You got some bad teaching. 1 Samuel 8:18 And in that day you will cry out because of your king, whom you have chosen for yourselves, but the Lord will not answer you in that day. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. That's from Dr. Skip Moen. Thank you, Jerry from Pennsylvania, for sending that to me. So my point is, don't hide behind that. Church people, don't hide behind all this mess talking about, well, we're to turn the other cheek and be martyrs for Jesus. No, you're not. Somebody's taught you wrong. I'll take some time and show you. You better have a plan. What are your thoughts? You sit down with a piece of paper and a pen. What are your thoughts? Look, you got to have a plan. You've got to make an effort. You've got to prepare. You've got to put some stuff aside. You've got to get some training. We say, well, I've never fought before. Well, then you really need training. You mean to tell me now? You just tell me. That's all right. You can tell me. I'm not going to make fun. Yes, it will. Totally will. You mean to tell me somebody comes in, your wife and your daughter are in your house, and you mean to tell me that, well, if they have to get raped and murdered, if that has to happen, then I'm not going to. You don't make violence better with more violence. Are you out of your flippin' mind? You don't know how. We can't. Well, let's make you king of the world. Thinking like that. It's not how it works. That's not how anything works. There is evil in the world. The contention, the proposition that there is an evil in the world, that it's some made-up thing, is bull. I've been to places where I've watched people just, a number of yards away cut another human being's head off. Are you kidding me? There's not evil. I've stood in Auschwitz, in Birkenau, in Dachau. I've stood there. I've looked in the ovens. I've looked at the thousands of glasses, the pile so high up to the ceiling of people's eyeglasses and the shoes and the gold that's been yanked out of the people's teeth. You don't tell me there's not evil. There's evil in this world today. People don't want to mess around. People are siding with Kim Jong-un. Let me tell you something. This guy's a whack job, evil guy, but he's not stupid. He's very well educated. He may do dumb things that seem like they don't make any sense, but I'm going to tell you something. He's not an idiot. He's very well educated. Yeah, he was educated in Western education, not, he's not some guy who lived under a rock. Now, is he a nut job? Oh, yeah. Does he need his cranium ventilated? Yeah, he does. Because as soon as he can deliver a nuke, he's going to nuke us. We know that for a fact. He's crazy. You know what you do with crazy? You kill it. If they have access to nuclear weapons, you kill it. You blow it up. You find a way to kill it. And then I've said this in speeches, the 1,000 generals that are underneath him, you kill them too, because they're so afraid of him. They'll never, ever come to their senses. It's only until you take out the first 1,000, the top 1,000 after him, that people will start to go, wow, there might be something to this. Because these people are taught their whole lives that America cuts off babies' heads and eats them. And you know what? We're not far from it, sadly, but with the organ selling and all this mess. Listen, man, there's evil in the world, and it's not just over in DPRK, it's also here. There's evil stuff here. There's evil people around. I stood nose to nose with people who have violently and brutally raped 80-plus-year-old women and left them to bleed to death. And then tried to set their house on fire, cover up the evidence. While they were alive, folks. While they were alive. I've been on investigation teams where a guy wanted to know what it was like to kill somebody. And so he hit a woman that he knew in the head with an axe. Broad daylight. Broad daylight. Look, man. That's reality. Evil exists, and sometimes it comes to you. And if you think there's some greater thing in heaven for you for stepping aside and letting your wife and your daughter be raped and murdered, well, you're a fool. You're a wimp and you're a fool. And you don't deserve to have a wife and a daughter. because it's our jobs as the fathers and as the husbands to protect our families. You say, well, what if I die in the process? What if you die in the process? You know what that's called? Being a hero. It's called having courage. You sit around and whine and moan and talk about, say the name of Jesus. Just say the name of Jesus and they'll turn. I love that. Boy, that is the most misrepresented attempt at theology I've ever seen in my life. Well, if you just say the name of Jesus, crime will turn. Listen, if that were true in that presented in that way, I would never stop visiting hospitals. I never would. I never would. I'm telling you right now, I never would. I'd stay in every hospital until I died. You'd have to put me on an IV feeder. I'd never leave. I'm telling you, I would never leave. If that really worked, and I would talk myself, and the only thing I'd say in every hospital, driving out disease, if all you had to do was say the name of Jesus, I would lose my voice permanently. I'd have to record it and just play it because I wouldn't have a voice box left. I'd just wear it right out. I'd go to every warring nation. I'd just say the name of Jesus. I'd never, ever leave. It's bad theology. It's mistranslating. It's giving yourself an excuse to not stand up and step up when it's time. And you know what? Everybody in their lifetime, especially if you're a man, sometimes it's time. It's a fact. Within your capabilities, you got to expand your capabilities. If the idea of a mob coming down your street with torches and guns and knives and machetes and whatnot, and they're lighting, and you look down the street and you see them lighting houses on fire and shooting people, innocent people, killing people. If that makes you throw up in your mouth a little bit thinking, man, I don't know what I'd do, you better get on it. Get on it. I say it all the time, better get you a book. You better get you a book. You better set on to reading. Mess around and sit there and curl up in the fetal position. That's not what you do. That is not what you do. Especially if you're the man. Look into training. One of the things, I have multiple black belts. I'm, at least a third-degree black belt in multiple disciplines, and I can tell you the number one thing, and this is not a plug for them. It's just something that I taught my guys in executive protection team, and I'll teach it to anybody that I can. Target focus training. It's a no bull, in your face, gruesome way that anybody really could use. Anybody really could use to protect themselves and their family. It isn't for the squeamish, but you don't have to stretch for 10 days to be able, 10 days in a row, to be able to lift your leg above your waist. You will know what it takes to be deadly. And there's no flashiness. There's none of that mess. It's all about throwing down. You're not in a fight to get in a fight. You enter into violence, overwhelming violence, to end that person's ability to harm you. And you end their interest in harming you by ending their ability to harm you. That's the way it works. You say, Pastor, are you advocating the people listening to go out and just start killing ANITFA? No, but if they want to bring violence, then you better be ready. You better be ready. This is what they've said, folks. You can't take these people lightly because they look different than you. You can't take them lightly. That's a fool's errand. That's pure folly. Don't take it lightly. I'm telling you right now. It would be a fool's errand to do so. A fool's errand. Listen, friends. I know that it is not easy. I know it's not easy. I know it's not. It's not easy if you're a person that tries to just go and do your business work, run your business. It's not easy. This is real world. I mean, you don't want it to be the way that it is, but it is. It is the way that it is. You wanting it to be a certain way isn't the way it is. Nobody wants it to be violent. But you've got to be able to beat back violence with greater violence. It can't be a wait and see thing. Can't be, well, they did this, so I'm just going to do this much above what they did. No. You've got to end this stuff right where it is. Right where it is. So Pamela Geller, you guys know I support what she does, and she's a friend of the show. She'll be on the show at some point. The lady is, let me tell you, you guys know who Pamela Geller is, right? Let me take a drink while you're thinking about it. Pamela Geller, nice Jewish lady from Manhattan, had a good life, smart, pretty, well educated, doing life, doing business. And more Jews came under attack in this country. And Islam started to take root, and the loving Islam started being the killing people Islam. Death started coming. Violence started being visited upon. Good people. But they looked for Jews. And you know what? She got tired of it. But it's not just about Jews. She is a Jew, but she got tired of Christians being denigrated, Catholics being denigrated, second-class citizens, and then they started dying. And she got tired of it. And so she stepped up. And she's had multiple attempts on her life, real attempts on her life. She has many attacks. Listen, they down in Texas, the Draw Muhammad contest down in Texas, Garland, Texas, that person was there to kill her and kill as many others as he could until he was shot and killed by a police officer. There have been many very, very close to being successful attacks on this woman's life. They've said they're going to rape her, the kuffar. They're going to rape her. 100 men are going to rape her. And then they're going to kill her. But they'll torture her first. Then they'll stone her or cut her head off. They can't decide which. Maybe they'll do both. She has entered into a fight that most people would never do. Look, you know of her. You know who Pamela Geller is. And you know that if you're a leftist, you brand her as a terrible person. You brand her as a violent person, but that's not the truth. She's not a violent person. She loves peace, but she realized what we're dealing with. So she wrote this book because she's a fighter for justice and truth, but you wouldn't know that by what the media brands are. I mean, she's been banned from Twitter, she's been censored on Twitter, she's been banned on YouTube, she's been banned from UK and many other places because she takes a stand. She's a good person, I'm telling you. I know her. She's a good person. I was just talking to her yesterday. She has this new book. It's called FATWA. FATWA, F-A-T-W-A, FATWA. Look it up. And this is what I'm just going to tell you. This book it's hardcore. It's hardcore. It's in your face. It's real. It's not politically correct. She's not messing around. I don't think other than President Trump, I don't think there's anybody that's been more unfairly maligned than Pamela Geller. I really don't. So yesterday she and I were communicating with each other, and she was right about to get on her flight. And so I said, what can I do to help you? I know you're in the thick of it. Just getting attacked at every single. You can follow her at Pamela Geller, which is Pamela PAMELAGELLER. Pamela Geller on Facebook. She's the editor-in-chief of the Geller Report. Well, she wrote this book called FATWA, Hunted in America. You got to read this book. Well, you can't read it yet because you got to pre-order it. You got to pre-order it. It's a book you're going to have to read. It's a fast read. I've seen parts of the early part of it. Look, she's the world's foremost activist for freedom of speech, individual rights, and equality of rights for all. Let me just say this. She's not running down a group of people because she just doesn't like certain group of people. Nobody has more accurate information than Pamela Geller. Nobody does. She doesn't say stuff she doesn't know is true. Yes, it's hard to listen to. And she would tell you, why is this woman out there doing that? What's she bringing on herself? She wouldn't do it if a man was out there doing it, or 1,000 men, or 100,000 men. But they're over at some swank store playing loud music with nothing but ripped skinny jeans for $600 or $800. That's what all the men are doing, is spending all their time up in those stores and getting their lattes with their whatevers. Look, it's all there in the book. Pam Geller, she recounts the battle to defeat the sinister Ground Zero Mosque project. Do you even remember what that is? Friends, they were going to build a flipping mosque on the Ground Zero hallowed grounds. Why do they do that? Because Islam erects a monument. Whenever they have a win, they erect a monument on that land. And in Islam, that is claiming that land for Muhammad. You don't remember, but you know what? She was the one leading the fight. How about the ISIS jihad attack? I alluded to it. The Draw Muhammad art exhibit and cartoon contest in Garland, Texas. You say, well, what was she doing that? That was mean. She shouldn't have done that. She brought that upon herself. She should never do that. I mean, kind of gets what's coming to her. I mean, she's got to expect it. So now you're saying that the air quotes art called Piss Jesus, where they take a cross and turn it upside down, the image of Jesus, and they put it in actual human urine, that the National Endowment of Arts helped pay for. That artist is acclaimed as some great person. So you're telling me, but drawing a cartoon, well, in Islam you're not allowed to draw cartoons of Muhammad. But it's okay to depict Christ that way? You allow that? Well, you know what we don't do? We don't kill people for doing that. She was making a very valid point, and at this contest in Garland, Texas, the fatwa, the Islamic war on her head and the plot to behead her is talked about in this book, and it's information you'll be shocked about. You will be appalled. You'll read it and you'll say, why wasn't this on all the major news outlets? How could they not have this on there? How could they do it? How could they keep this silent? Hey, they kept Harvey Weinstein silent. Now it turns out Ben Affleck and what's his name? Good Will Hunting dude. What's his name? He was in the Born, this and that and the other. Both incredible lefties. Turns out they all knew. They all knew what this Weinstein was about, and they kept their mouths shut. And they told other people to keep their mouths shut. And they told news outlets, don't release this. Don't release it. And they didn't. So you don't know what happened there in Texas. This woman has been... Matt Damon, thank you, Craig. I appreciate it. I'm telling you, smartest chat in the business. Matt Damon. I mean, this woman has been vilified by the mainstream media. I mean, they are hell-bent on defaming and destroying this woman. And anybody that stands against jihad and Sharia, if you stand against jihad and Sharia, somehow or another, you're this bad person. I don't understand the LGBT crowd. I don't understand y'all. I've got good friends that are LGBT. I'm telling you, I've got family that's LGBT, and I'm telling you, I don't understand. When you stand up for Islam, you are signing your own death warrant. And she's the one that's got the cojones to stand up against it. Her critics have called her the most dangerous woman in America. They've called her far-right hate queen. She's a nice lady. I know the woman. She's nice. She's sweet. But she knows what we're facing. She is the anti-Muslim movement's most visible and flamboyant figurehead. This is. They say she's her admirers, which I'm one of them, the Joan of Arc of the counter-jihad movement. Listen, one of the top world experts in radical Islam and Sharia law and Islamic supremacy, and a wonderful fighter for liberty. Listen, they call me. It's not me calling me this. This is what I'm an internationally known expert on Islam and Sharia and counterterrorism as it relates to Islam. I'm just telling you, that's what they say about me. Well, they say this about Pam Geller, and Pam Geller is the real deal. This is one of the things she says. Any lover of freedom would have been tarred the same way I was, as many have been. I am but a proxy in this terrible long war. What has happened to me is what happens in small and large ways to every American who stands for freedom. But I'll tell you what, in this book, FATWA, she prevails. You'll see she prevails. I'll tell you right now, without Pamela Geller, countless numbers of freedom fighters, they'd have cowed. They'd have kowtowed, they'd have been intimidated, they'd have run into silence. The violent and authoritarian left, they would have pounded them into silence. But because Pamela Geller doesn't give up, doesn't quit, they can do what she does. That's strong, folks. That is strong. And at some point or another, we've got to stand up and say, hey, you know what? I am not going to let this woman stand alone. Well, one thing you can do, and this is why it's important. Look, I have a book, and I'm writing another book now. It won't. My next book will not be on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com and in the stores and all that stuff. It won't be any of those places. My next book is an ebook. We're constructing it as an ebook. It'll be accessible. They're telling me I should ask $9.99 for it. This is what they're telling me. I don't know. But as hard as I'm working on it, believe you me, it's a lot of work that went into it. Instant download and all that stuff. It's really kind of cool. There's some interactive stuff in it so far. That's really a kind of a neat thing. And there's a lot of topics in it. It's called the Fraud Life. And it's pretty powerful. I think you'll really like it. We've still got a way to go on it. But in her book, it all matters. Having written a book and tried to, get it out there and all this stuff and done book tours, you got to have pre-orders, folks. Nowadays, if you're a conservative, they will not put your book on the shelves in bookstores. You have to have 50,000, 100,000 pre-orders. Look, a lot of these, Hillary Clinton, she gets I can't remember how many millions of dollars she got paid as an advance on her book. As an advance. They figure, well, she's going to sell a lot of books. Guess what? The publisher is out so much money, millions of dollars. No matter how much money they spend on promoting it, nobody buys the book. But she gets the money and she gets the TV, time and all this stuff. Well, Pamela's not getting that. Pamela Geller's not getting that. So you got to have 50 or 100,000 pre-orders. Well, how's that happen? That happens you. You order it. I order it. I've already ordered. So, and no, I didn't ask her to give me a book to say this. I just said, how can I help you? And she said, man, if you could tell them about the book, that would be awesome. She's not paying me money. I'm not getting anything for it. Not even a free book. But I think the world of the lady. Listen, she's an awesome person. She's an awesome person. You say, well, she's kind of, snappy and yelly and all that stuff all the time. She's all the time looking like she wants to fight all the time. You know why? Because everybody's trying to get her. You know what'll ruin your freaking mood is if people are all the time up your butt trying to kill you. All the time trying to put a blade to your neck. All the time trying to take you out. All the time trying to, come on. Seriously. That'll put you in a bad mood. But you talk to her, you see she has a beautiful smile, and she's a darn good person. Just a darn good person. FATWA, Hunted in America. Pre-order it. Pre-order it. What is it, $20? I think I paid $20. It's $20. And that'll help her. Because they're not going to put her on TV shows. They're not going to give her TV time to promote her book. They're not going to do any of that. In fact, a lot of bookstores are going to come out. You'll see what they do. Well, we are not going to sell the hate book by the hate princess of hate in America, Pamela Geller, the hate queen of America. The anti this or come on. Don't be stupid. All right, we only have a little time left. This is a question I seem to be getting more and more often. I get it all the time. Oh, somebody just sent me a message. What's the name of your book? My current book, the book that's finished and available on Kindle. It's available in hardback. I like the hardback. That's my favorite. I think it looks nicer. It's easier for me. It's easier to read in that book. It's called Excellence Killed the Church: How Mediocrity is Destroying America. All you do is go over to theninjapastor.com and go over to the book part and click on that. You can order it. It goes right through Amazon. It's easy peasy. So, but people ask me all the time, they say to me, how should a Christian respond to terrorism? Like these things, the Las Vegas shooting. By the way, let me just touch on that really, really fast because I don't have much time. I did a show where I talked a lot about that. We have inside information, a lot of that stuff. You're hearing a lot of misinformation that I can tell you, I know for a fact is not true. It's not inaccurate. It's not true. If somebody didn't misspeak, it's intentionally not true. Now, you may think some of the items are not very important. The guy wasn't shot in the leg. The security guy, now he's a hero. And now that you see the timeline, that happened well before the shooting started. He shot him before he shot up all those people. That's a fact. It's their own timeline, the calls, everything matches. It happened before. You wonder why they were so late calling the police. The hotel itself, so late calling the police. Mandalay Bay is being sued now. Why were you so late calling the police? Why were you so late getting a police presence there? You got to be kidding me. Anyway, a lot of stuff going around. There's some people saying there's 2 shooters. I can tell you the echo signature and all that stuff and all those buildings, all the angular buildings in the desert. If you're not from the desert, you don't understand how sound travels in the desert, the dry air, 17 to 20% relative humidity. You don't have the density of air. The reflection and the rebound of the sound is incredible. And when you have the angularness of that area, the angularity of the area, you've got sound bouncing slightly up, sound bouncing down. You've got sound bouncing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's loud. It's loud. We'll find out if we ever have, urban combat here in this country, which I pray to God we don't. But if we ever do, you're going to hear what other people in other places, Iraq and all these other places around the world that have fighting, Syria, all these, it bounces the sound, but you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what you're hearing. Am I hearing the echo? What am I hearing? Somebody just sent me a message, wanted to know what I thought of the slide fire or bump fire thing, and should it be gotten rid of. Let me just tell you, I would never put any piece of junk like that on any of my firearms, and I'll tell you why. They wreck your firearms. They're pieces of junk. It's a novelty. It's a dumb novelty. You cannot be accurate with it. Now, granted, he didn't have to be accurate. He was just firing, spray and fire, spray and pray, you know. Lord, let me kill a bunch of people. I don't know what was on the guy's mind. Listen, there's a lot of crazy stuff coming out now. He had an incendiary round that he fired at the oil tank. And my friend told me, he said, yeah, it's he really did do that. But you have, a lot of people saying, well, it might have. He might have been wanting to fire it somewhere else, because after a while, it's hard to fire at that rate of fire without having the rifle rest on something. And if you're not used to firing like that for that many minutes, it's spray and pray. You're just in any general. They found bullets, thousands of yards away. Yeah. The rounds hit thousands of yards away, hit cars down on the strip. The whole bit. So my point is, we don't know all the answers on that. Is the chief an idiot? Well, he's kind of looking like an idiot. Or he's been told to say certain things, and then they tell him, okay, don't say that now, say this. Well, that makes me look really stupid. You told me to say this other thing before. Well, I don't know. I don't tend to be a conspiracy theorist. There's a lot wrong with this. Really and truly, and I don't know how to fix it for you. I really don't. I don't know how to fix it for you. I wish I did know, folks. I wish I did. I wish I knew the actual truth. But, I know what I know. I know the amount that I'm able to know, and I'm pretty well connected. But so stay tuned for that. Keep your ear to the ground. Pay attention. Don't fall for weird stuff. Don't listen to, some guy on the internet's talking about, you see here, right here, I've got incontrovertible evidence that the two different sound signatures here is actually two different weapons, which means you can't fire two weapons at the same time. Well, actually you can, dude. But the fact that it is not likely. And so he's saying there's two different sound signatures. You see here on the graph, it's how this goes up here and like this, and that shows us two. You see around there, and I'm gonna look around. Come on. Anybody that's ever been in the middle of combat in an urban setting will tell you the sound signature changes as it bounces off of buildings. And it bounces multiple times. It's not one time. It's not one echo. You don't go squeeze, fire, and then it's just like that. That's how it happens. That's how it works. That's just the real deal. You just gotta know that that's how it works. It's just how it works. I'm sorry to tell you, it's a silly accessory that some people get tripped out on. Oh, look at me, it's automatic, And you say, well, it's getting around the automatic. It's not automatic. It's not. You've got to move the stock, and you're basically shaking the gun in your hand in order to actuate the firing mechanism just faster. It's just doing it faster. I can fire if I didn't have to change magazines. It's not a clip, it's a magazine. If I didn't have to change magazines, I can put down range in a minute. I don't know, nowadays, if I'm prone, I can probably do 300 rounds in a minute. Yeah, about 300 rounds in a minute with a just standard semi-auto, no add-ons or anything like that. Yeah. Standing's a little harder. But to be accurate doing that, no. Somebody said, by the way, let me address this really quick. Somebody said, well, what about the range of the AR-15 is only about 200 to 300 yards. First of all, idiot says, I'm a combat person. I'm very well versed. This is circulating the email lists and the internet and all this. And I'm a combat veteran, and I can tell you, it's a useless weapon. Now, so the people that got shot 600 yards, 400 yards away, that didn't happen with that weapon. Somebody else was shooting a different weapon. No. I can go right now and hit a pie plate, and I don't mean a big pie. I mean a regular pie. I can hit I'll tell you what I can hit. I can hit, the teacup, put that out at 600 yards, give me a 3-power scope, and I'm going to hit that. If I have a 20-round magazine, and I can put a sandbag or something underneath it, or a bipod in the prone position, I can hit that out of a 20-round magazine probably 10 times. From 600 yards away, you can barely see it. That's a lie. It's just a flat out lie that its range is 300 to 400 yards. It's just a flat out lie. There have been people that have hit, is there a significant bullet drop? You better believe there is. In the desert, it's not as much. The air's not as dense. It's not as much. Anyway, the point is there's a lot of crap being slung around. It's just not true. It's just not true. So it's best to be quiet. It's best to listen. It's best to pressure, for truth. There's a lot of investigation now. There's a lot being made of the fact that the alleged shooter's home has been broken into. It's been burglarized. Why did the Las Vegas Police Department, or why did the whoever police department allow that to happen? Do you think they're going to put it? Look, they've already had their evidence teams in there for days and days and days around the clock. Do you think they're just going to be? This is a national monument now. We're just going to leave people there? No, they put up tape and they hope nobody goes. Once those people leave, they're done doing their job. You don't leave guards there. That's not how it works, folks. That may be in the movies, but it's not reality. Real quick, I'm going to buzzsaw through this because I'm running out of time. Daggone it. What we got here? Oh, wow. I really got to hurry. So how should a Christian respond to terrorism? And I always ask this, what does the Bible say? And then aligning with what the Bible actually says, not what people say it says. Where does that come down? Well, you've got 9/11, right? You've got D.C., you've got Shanksville, you've got all of these things that happened on 9/11, 2001, and it's horrible. It's horrible. It's awful. We let it happen, truthfully. We let it happen. We were lax. We didn't think so. I remember calling my father from far, far away. My parents didn't have any idea where I was or what I was doing. Not on 9/11, but I'm saying back in the day when we were busy doing stuff. And I was about to do something that was risky, extremely risky. And I remember telling my dad, I said, Dad, you got to watch out for Islamic Jihad. It's coming. It's coming to get us. It's sweeping over the world, and it's coming to get us. And it's coming to the United States. I remember my dad said, it'll never come here. Never come here. And I had to think of that. I was in Columbus, Ohio, in a high-rise. In Columbus, Ohio. Well, high-rise for Columbus. And I remember, I knew as soon as the first plane hit, I got all my motorcycle gear. I went to my boss, and I said, hey, buddy, I'm rolling home because there's going to be some stuff needs doing. This is going to get worse. There's going to be at least 7 attacks. The guy you can ask him. You can ask him. The guy who's behind this is Osama bin Laden. And, he's bent on killing us all. So this one plane is going to be multiple planes, and sure enough, there it went. And there were more. There were more. They think that there were between 4 and 5 more planes that were going to be flown into national places of significance. So that's how they work in 7. So, but all of us had anger. We had hatred, rage, despair, compassion, all these things. And really and truly, we saw people at their worst, and we saw people at their best. Alan Jackson, where were you when the world stopped turning? I mean, that song is powerful. But listen, we cannot advocate pacifism. We can't advocate big bear. I talked about this last week. You can't put a pile of stuffed bears, and thinking, oh, this will fix it. No, it won't. It won't fix it. It's not going to stop them. Well, here's my candle. That's not going to stop it. Love wins over hate every time. No, it doesn't. Only the love of Christ does. And there's a lot of bad stuff that's going to happen before he comes back on that white horse. When the lightning splits the sky east to west and the sound of the shofar splits the sky, then you're going to see love winning. But that ain't going to be a peaceful return. He's not coming back as a baby, y'all. Not this time. So how should Christians respond to terrorism? And the Bible says God has established these governments, and the government, they're imbued with this the authority of God to protect its citizens and to punish those who terrorize them. Well, put it in its context. Back then, the government was rulers within the community. So it was of the people, for the people, by the people. In other words, if a man beat on his woman, now I'm going to get all kinds of hate mail. Oh, a man beats on his woman, like she's some sort of chattel. Well, that's how it was in the Bible. They were chattel. No, they weren't. In the Hebrew communities, they were not treated that way. Look up Ezer Kenegdo, and you'll see. Ezer, Ezer Kenegdo. So these people, look, they didn't allow that. You mess around and abuse somebody, you're going to pay. You're going to pay, and the community's going to be sure of it. They all participated in government. But legitimate governments, they're established, to help us have it's not something that we disconnect and we go, oh, well, I don't have to deal with that. We hired the professionals. That's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. Legitimate governments. Shaul, or the Apostle Paul, the authorities that exist have been established by God. That's Romans 13:1. There is no authority except that which God has established. Everyone must submit himself to the governing authorities. That's how the different translations go. Romans 13:2, right after that. Consequently, he who rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment upon themselves. Rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but those who do wrong. But for those who do wrong. He, the ruler, does not bear the sword for nothing. He is God's servant, an agent of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Look, man, we submit to these authorities, and you got to elect good people. You got to keep your eye on them. You can't abdicate your responsibility to make sure government's doing what it's supposed to be doing. We don't want them willy-nilly running around doing what they're not supposed to do. We want them doing what they're supposed to do. That's up to us. That's up to us to get involved in government. Self-governance. CenterForSelfGovernance.com. Best organization you'll ever be involved with, I'm telling you right now. You want to know how to take your country back? Everybody says they want to do something. That's the something. CenterForSelfGovernance.com. The United States government, look, we have the right and we have the duty to God, to pursue, relentlessly pursue, and punish effectively people who commit acts of terror and people who harbor them. People say, that's terrible what Israel does. I heard this. I don't know if this is true. I hope this isn't true. These are Christians saying this, by the way. I hope this isn't true. I heard in Israel, if a terrorist, well, alleged terrorist, I mean, we don't know. It's really unfair how those people are treated in Israel. But if like somebody says or accuses them of being involved in terrorism, you know what? I can barely say it. The Israeli government, they tear down their homes. They tear them down. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They put those poor people out. They tear them down with the people in them. Which is terrible. Which they don't, by the way. They send a message. They send a person that speaks the language of the people in the home. It's both in writing in their language. And they say, time to go. Your home will be destroyed on such and such. If you don't want to be in it when it gets destroyed, you will be out. And they destroy the home. That is biblical. And if you harbor a terrorist, time to go. Night-night. Cranial ventilation at high rate of speed. Lead injection. The Bible says we're not to take punishment into our own hands, but to defer vengeance to God through legitimately established governments. Well, Romans 12:17, don't repay anyone evil for evil. Do not take revenge. This is Romans 12:19. My friends, but leave room for God's wrath. Well, who's a legitimate government? Well, we should be involved in that legitimate government. We can't abdicate our responsibility. We got to get in it and get after it. Vengeance does belong to God. He's the only one that knows perfectly the hearts of men. He's the only one that can temper vengeance and justice. It's just a fact, folk. It's just a fact. Nahum 1, 2, and 3. The Lord is a jealous and avenging God. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power. The Lord will not leave the guilty unpunished. Sometimes the punishment doesn't happen here on earth. People say, why would God allow these terrible things to happen? Somebody has just sent me a message and wanted to know more about the TFT. I don't represent them. I'm just a practitioner of it. There's a book by them called How to Survive the Most Critical 5 Seconds of Your Life. I swear to you, I don't get a dime. These people have never talked to me. TargetFocusTraining.com. You go there, TargetFocusTraining.com. It's Tim Larkin, Chris Rankbuer. They both wrote this book, and they do live seminars. They do videos, DVDs, and all that stuff all across the world. And so that's where you can find out more about that, TargetFocusTraining.com. And again, I'm not at all affiliated with them. I'm a practitioner of what they do. Look, sometimes God uses us to be his hand of judgment. Absolutely. Absolutely. And back in the day, in the biblical times, that meant, if somebody did the wrong thing against a community, you know what? The community, under the guise of legitimate God-installed government, God, what do you want us to do? Burn everything. Burn it to the ground. Kill everything. Yeah, I know you don't like it, but, there's evil. The Bible says that the way to overcome evil isn't through personal retaliation or hatred, but through you do good and you do compassionate things. Listen, some people, I don't subscribe to the belief that people that grow up in a bad place or grow up in a hard, poor or whatever, they didn't have many toys for Christmas or any toys, or they were hungry, that they, listen, Dr. Ben Carson, Justice Thomas, Clarence Thomas, Frederick Douglass. He grew up tough. He grew up in tough circumstances. That's not how they became. Well, that's 3 out of just, you're just picking and choosing. No, I can give you thousands of examples of people that grew up poor that were good people, productive members of society. No, it's bullcrap. It's bullcrap to say that, but you got to do good. You got to have an environment of good, a group of good. You can't just, run everybody down all the time. But you know what else, too? We have a responsibility. We cannot be overcome by evil. The Apostle Paul, or Shaul is his real name. Paul's a made-up name. But Shaul said, don't be overcome with evil. He who loves his fellow man has fulfilled the law, Romans 13:8. That's just reality, folks. It's just reality. We're not supposed to be angst-ridden over it either. The psalmist, David, said, do not fret because of evil men, Psalm 37:1. Trust in the Lord and do good, 37:3. Do not fret when men succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes, 37:7. Psalm 37:7. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Look, I don't have to be mad to shut a murderer down. I don't have to be mad at the guy to separate the brainstem of a person who's going to set the house on fire with my family in it. I don't have to be mad at the guy that's firing rounds at me. I just have to separate his ability to carry his evil from his body. I don't have to be angst-ridden. It's just how it works, folks. It's just reality. Ultimately, among the community of believers, we have to show each other what the love of God is like. And people who haven't yet heard of God or heard of the love of Christ and redemption and the grace that we have made available to us, we're the ones that got to show them, man. We have to teach them. We have to help them to the extent that they want to be taught or they want to be helped. And you know what? There's a lot of people out there, are military, police, firemen, rescue workers, doctors, nurses, volunteers of all kinds. They're living out Jesus' words, Yeshua's words. Greater love hath no man than this, than he lay down his life for his friends, John 15:3. That's reality, y'all. That's reality. And listen, I was a first responder. I can tell you, I was a military person. I'm going to tell you, you got to be praying for those. You say, well, I can't do that. So, well, pray for the ones that are. Help the ones that are. Support them when they come under attack. It's reality, folks. And listen, if something unjust happens, something intolerant happens, excuse me, you've got to step up. I don't want to hear any more about the intolerance of, conservatives and all that stuff. There's a thing passing around. There's supposed to be a football player that someone called him the N-word like 100 times from the stands of a big football game, and his fellow players all gathered around him to protect him. They didn't want him called that. This is what he says, Nobody can find anybody but him that heard that. There's nobody in the stands. We're in the era of smartphones, man. Even flip phones have cameras. People are instant news reporters. You think the first N-word that came out, there wouldn't be somebody record. I'm going to be an internet star. I'm going to get on that YouTube and I'm going to get 1,000,001 hits. I'm going to retire. No. The crowd would be full of it. You hear somebody say that, people are flipping out their phones, pressing record right away. And I'll tell you what else is true. The crowd would not. You let one person be in the crowd like that, a crowd at a football game like that, be yo. No. Let that come out of your mouth one more time. You see the beat down that happens to you. We're not having that association. We're not having people think that we're like you. Shut up and sit down or get out. That's how it works. Security would have been called. All these things, they made that crap up. As they often do. I'm sorry to say, in this day and age, 88% of all claims of racism, defaced, racist epithets, threatened, all these things turn out to be false. But when it is not false, we need to stand up. We need to stand up. We need to stand up. We cannot. I'm telling you, we cannot allow that to be, oh, well, somebody should do something. You're the somebody, and the something you should do is shut them up. And if you're not physically capable of that, you know what you ought to do? Find somebody that can. Don't let somebody be ignorant, somebody else, unjustly. Now, you know what we're not supposed to tolerate? We're not supposed to tolerate somebody doing the wrong thing. We're not supposed to tolerate cutting baby parts out and selling them. Not supposed to tolerate that. Tolerance. Sometimes you're not supposed to tolerate. So a lot of people running around frustrated, hopeless, and helpless. You cannot allow that to continue. If there's something you can do to help them, you should do it. Now, you try to help people. If they won't be helped, move on. Move on. I have a dear friend who is really upset. They're trying to help a person in great need, a need of their own creating. They had a rough childhood, and they just make the wrong choice every time. They do bad things, and they've tried to help them, including taking lots of money out of their pocket, places to stay, food, all of these things. And the person is just not responding. They're not responding. They're just not doing. They're just not doing what they need to do, and they can't be helped. Sometimes those people are in your family, and you try to help them, you can't. They won't be helped, and you have to walk away and just say, well, we tried. We did the best we could. The other thing you got to do, you got to be a voice for calm. You can't be freaking out all the time. Folks, people that freak out all the time, that's a bucket full of crazy. You can't mess around with a bucket full of crazy. I'm sorry to say, you can't be so quick to get angry or upset or frustrated or blow up. You can't do it. You can't work with people like that. And if people are blowing up and acting crazy and being ignorant, you stop them. You don't put your hand over the mouth. Say, whoa. If I'm working with you, you don't talk to me that way. That's toxic. Don't be like that. We got a job to do. We got to be quick to listen. The Bible says, James 1:19-20, everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. Look, you getting mad doesn't bring about righteousness, that a righteous life that God desires. That's just how it goes. We don't pray. You know what I do when I wake up? I wake up all throughout the night. That's why I only sleep 2 hours and 36 minutes. Last 2 nights, I've averaged that. Sometimes I pray. I pray. I have a list of people that I'm praying for, and I'm up anyway, might as well pray. And then I read and do different things. Don't forget to pray. Don't tell somebody you'll pray for them and then don't pray for them. That's the worst thing. I hate that. Listen, people that are in the fighting terrorism, you got to pray for them. You got to pray for the president. You got to pray for the people that work for him. They're all under fire. I've never seen a president more unfairly targeted than this guy. Pray for Christians everywhere in the world that as they're ministering hope and comfort to bereaved families, that you will protect their heart. It's difficult to be in that. We're in it to win it, man. And sometimes the battle gets hard. I don't know what to tell you. Listen, we have to be real. We cannot. I'm telling you right now, folks, we got to stop with this inauthentic way of being. Say what you think. Say what you mean. Don't dance around the tough stuff. Be real. That part of my book is a biggest part of my book. I don't even know how to put it. I mean, the lie begins. Even I have a whole chapter I do lying and dating. I'm going to call it something different. I don't like that title, but it talks about how don't lie when you date. When you're dating, don't lie. Tell the truth. If you've led an uneventful life, be real about it. Don't dress it up or embellish it. Be real. If you've led an exciting life, I'll tell you the truth. Most people, they won't believe you. They won't. I hate to tell you, they won't. They'll look at you right in the eye and they'll go, that guy's lying. That girl's lying. But there are a lot of liars out there. They will present themselves in a way that they are not. You say, well, you put your best foot forward. You should always be putting your best foot forward. But lying about who you are and what you are is not putting your best foot forward. It's lying. Whole chapter about that. We got to be real with each other. Times are getting tough now. Times are getting tough. We cannot give up, folks. We can't give up. Times are too tough. November 4th, folks. Right around the corner. It is right around the corner. God bless you. TheNinjaPastor.com. Check us out. Facebook. Follow us there on Facebook. Twitter at The Ninja Pastor. LinkedIn. Sean Michael Greener. Instagram. The Ninja Pastor. Also, follow us on YouTube. YouTube channels, The Ninja Pastor. Check all that stuff out. Follow us on Spreaker. That's super important. Spreaker. The Ninja Pastor on Spreaker, Spreaker. Get our free The Ninja Pastor Show apps on Google Play or the other thing, iPhone. It's free. It doesn't even weigh down your computer. Seriously. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining me today.
Dr. Greener returns next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And in the meantime, he'll be working to restore your freedom and your liberty. He will engage in the collision of faith and politics for you and with you. In the meantime, remember to follow him on Twitter at The Ninja Pastor and follow him on Facebook. Dr. Greener's controversial book, Excellence Killed the Church, How Mediocrity is Destroying America, is available on Amazon and at other fine booksellers. Or you can get a copy directly through his website, www.drshawngreener.com, where you can also listen to interviews and speeches and messages free of charge. Show archives are available on iTunes through drshawngreener.com.